We often wonder, at least I know I do, that how did the master architects actually live their lives? How did they run their offices? Where did they get all of their inspirations from? Today, on the 1st of September, which would have been architect Charles Correa's 88th birthday, it is my absolute honor to welcome you to the 5th episode of Archiviews, where we'll try and cover the life of one of the greatest master architects that have ever lived in this country and arguably in this world. So in today's episode, we are talking about architect Charles Correa. And it seemed only fitting that I shot the introduction for this episode in a space designed by him. Today, I am sitting in Jawahar Kala Kendra in Jaipur, one of the true masterpieces designed by architect Charles Correa. My journey to uncover his life led me to a person who, for this interview, would like to be introduced as a village idiot. Why would he introduce himself in that way? Well, we'll find out in the interview. Welcome once again to Archiviews episode 5, guys. Today we're in conversation with architect Ajay Verma, and we will try to uncover the brilliant life of architect Charles Correa. So today I'm here in Bangalore with architect Ajay Verma. So sir, when you called me for this project, since then to today you've shared so many interesting stories with me today about Mr. Correa. So I think today's interview is going to be more of you telling us, you glorifying us with amazing stories working with Mr. Correa and how everything went on, and it fits beautifully into the format of this project. So before we start with anything else, sir, what is this village idiot about? I mean, what is the story behind it?
The story behind it is that Mr. Correa, he was a very passionate person, and he would express very strongly. So if you have, and that was his way of bringing out the best in you. So the punchline which he used to use for me is, "You village idiot, God moron, who gave you the gold medal?" But this village idiot, it's not just me. Why I would like to be called, play the cast of a village idiot in this presentation, is that this village idiot represents so many people who would have come to Mr. Correa's practice, which spanned for more than, I think, good 50 years. And they came village idiots, and then what he tinkered out of them and what he made the best out of them. So this village idiot represents all those idiots who came and got transformed.
So now let us start with the first segment. So our first segment, which is the PDF, or the practice, the design and the field. So usually in this segment we take on the views of architects on various issues of the field, the practice, but today we'll try and uncover one of the greatest minds of this world has ever seen. So sir, you told me how Mr. Correa was heavily involved in his project, especially during the conceptual stages of it. And concept was something that was very important to Mr. Correa. So could you tell us about how he was in his office, how did his conceptual meetings, how involved was he in his projects and how they came to be?
When you are trying to understand like how he ran his practice and what was his day like in his office.
Exactly.
So see, he was a very, very, very abstract, very conceptual person. He had no patience. He would not see the production of working drawings, details, though they also had to be perfect. So most of the interactions used to be very intense, very like burst of energy. It's like a star falling from the sky, you see that for short. And that time you have to pick that up and you have to do. So if you see is every day working in his office, he will come to office, he'll take a round of the studio. If someone has to discuss something, he will talk to them. And then he will go to his cabin He will do his normal work. There will be letters to write, communications to be.
Yeah.
But his interactions on projects used to be that burst of energy. He will let us, like he would work for, and he would not get involved with it on a day-to-day basis. And he will see some things, he will see half things, he will see full things. And whatever he is seeing, that energy will come like burst. Like he will have like tracing papers, he will like sketch.
Yeah.
And we have to preserve those.
Full of energy.
Full. And not before, it's not like a prescription which we'll give for everything.
Yeah.
It will be set to one level. And with that you have to understand the import of his mind, what he's trying to do. And then it will be for us to develop it further, take it further. It was not like practice where he will dictate.
Yeah.
Or he will give the prescription. He will have very strong conceptual ideas.
Okay. Alright.
We'll not get like sketches which we can put one more tracing on it and draft it out.
Yeah.
There'll be ideas. Why not this axis? Why can't we do like this? Why not like this? So because a lot of times it will be why not like this?
Yeah.
Then we have to figure out the.
So even working with him worked like how teachers poke your mind in school, where why not try this? Why not do this? So working with him was like that.
Yeah. You can say that style was what I would call like a movie making. He was the director of the studio. He was not the actor. Actor were people like village idiots like us.
Okay.
From village idiots like us, he made stars.
Yeah.
But he was a director. Fantastic director.
Bringing out the best in his
Bringing out the best in all the actors.
Alright. You have a story of how Mr. Correa fired you for half a day, and then immediately send letters to your father and the head of your department. So if you could share that story with us.
Yeah. Like if I think like things which were like formative in my life, which transformed me, like say from an iron ore to metal, great transformation. That was that one day incidents. I was just maybe one and a half months in office, and with my enthusiasm I had done a lot of work.
Yeah.
And I took to him, and I produced a lot of work, like how we will, when we are there in college, our submission counts with the number of sheets. No, still that thing was there. Like they're going, that should be some quantum of work. So I done a lot of work, and he saw one or two things. He asked. Then after that he started shouting, firing left, right, center, same like this dialogue. No. His punchline, key line, whatever you may call, or the line with love for me.
Yeah.
That you village idiot, goat, moron, who gave you the gold medal? But he never, all this while, is that energy didn't stop.
Yeah.
It's not that he was only shouting at me and abusing me. They were like kings. He was very strongly, he was telling what needs to be done. And that happened for almost like 3 hours. Literally, I was shaking in my legs, and the only thing I didn't do is spoil my clothes. But after that 3 hours, I came out. Somehow managed, finished the day, and I didn't come to office for 3 days. And then when 4th day when I come, the secretary called me. Ajay, see, Charles has written a letter to your father and head of the department. I was like totally gone. My God. What would my head of the department say, and what would my father feel? Then he showed me the letters which he had written. Same day, secretary told me that he finished firing me, and he called the secretary and dictated these 2 letters. First letter to both the letters said more or less the same thing. To my head of the department it said, Dear Professor Ratan Kumar, thank you very much for sending Ajay to this office, Rudki, blah blah blah. Appreciated Rudki, and Ajay is doing a great work. And like this. And same letter is written to my father, Dear Mr. Verma, thank you very much for sending Ajay to office. He is one of this.
Yeah.
So that's why I particularly wanted that village idiot. See, this is how we converted village idiots. That was the greatness of that man. And straight, I'm like one kid at that time. 87. My year of birth is 63. I was 24 years old, 2 months in his office. And that much is commitment and passion is there. Okay, filing is okay. What was his need to write those 2 letters? This was not called for, no?
Yeah.
And that is immediate. But that is what something like totally transformed me, which I was like totally shaken. And after seeing those letters, something is like a giant came inside me as to what I should do. Now I had to really live up to that thought. Yeah. Those two letters which he had written, one to my father and one to my head of the department.
Yeah. So that was our first segment. That was all about the practice, the design, and the field. For our second segment, which is the project, we are going to discuss the Jawaharlal Nehru Institute for Development Banking.
The Jawaharlal Nehru Institute for Development Banking was established in the year 1991. A complex system of interdependent spaces was conceived, organized around landscape courtyards to provide the humidified microclimate necessary in the hot, dry climate of Hyderabad. What is interesting about this project is there's a huge chunk of rock, almost as huge as a room, sitting in one of the courtyards. It is visible as you enter the institute, and it is utilized by the students and teachers alike for various social gatherings. Let us try and understand the development of these spaces.
So, sir, could you tell us a little bit about the site and the brief that you got for this project?
This brief of this project was that it is a management training institute, so some faculty rooms have to be there, classes has to be there, for about 80 rooms have to be there for students to stay, and faculty housing has to be there.
Yeah.
So this was the basic brief. Site, the total built up area was 1,60,000 square feet and site was 50 acres. And it had contours.
Okay.
So immediately when I got it in my hand, it was a completely ground floor structure sprawling on the ground. And from that point I started working on it.
Okay. So you shared with me an interesting story about what happened when you visited the site and how it changed the design for the project and how Mr. Correa helped you develop that design further and shape the project further. So could you tell our viewers what you saw when you went on the site and how it changed the project?
So when I got the project in my hand, like it was a series of courtyards, and these courtyards were not on axis. That was the concept when I got the project. Then when I went for the site, I saw one very beautiful rock. It is like 4.5 meter height, 3 to 4 meter in width, diameter, and it is there at one place. So I wanted to know where our project is sitting on it. And somehow I thought if this rock we can contextualize in our project and we can anchor the plan to this, it will be nice. So then I came back and I showed this photo. So immediately he said, Ajay, it's looking like a shivling. So this is also, education is also like a place of worship, no?
Yeah.
So it's like a sanctum sanctorium, you use this word a lot. So sanctum sanctorium, this rock will be there at the end of it. So immediately we ordered for a revised survey with smaller contour intervals, 0.5 meter contour intervals, so we can plot everything.
Yeah.
And all rocks have to be plotted. I got this survey, and I did cut and paste and I rearranged and I kept it ready when he came. Immediately he accepted all the changes.
Yeah.
Now the courtyards are on axis, so that now what you see on the project, if you're there at the entrance courtyard, you'll see the rock on axis straight like a shivling. And when I've spoken to people who have gone there for management trainees, they remember that rock.
Yeah.
They remember socializing around that, get-togethers, outdoor classes, a lot of activity helps around that.
Yeah.
But what's important, it's a very simple thing actually.
Yeah.
But you should see that Mr. Correa that time is 60 plus. He's achieved all the possible awards in the world. UIA gold medal, RIVA gold medal, American Institute of Gold Medals, and here I am from Roorkee, 24 years old, 2 months in his office. And he took this advice so seriously.
Yeah.
And the plan was a different plan. So it has his ideas also, and like what I contributed also was there. and he showed this around to everyone in the office. See what this boy has done. See what this boy has done. See what this boy has done. So it's like first episode that he writing those two letters, and then showing this design. This is, I was not anyone special. I was like all one village idiots. And this is what was his approach to people who were interested. He will so much glorify them. He will pump them with the bursts of energy. He will glorify them. And that used to bring out the best in everyone. So this is like one more incidence, you can say, which made me to take up all the responsibility.
Helping like new graduates, helping anybody gain confidence in themselves.
Yes.
Also with this breaking the hierarchy.
Yes. And there is no hierarchy. I am a trainee, and he is like that God. And so much importance. This is how he used to develop people and used to take their minds.
So that was the end of segment 2. Now we will move on to segment 3. Now segment 3, as you all know, is all about education, where we take advice about education, about anything that would be helpful to students who are pursuing architecture right now, who want to pursue architecture. So, Mr. Correa, who is undoubtedly one of the greatest masters of his field, and who in your own words was a god of architecture, he had some very interesting advice from you. And now you, who in your own words, if somebody after graduation, if somebody would have told you to pursue masters, study more, you just give a smack on their head. From that place in life, and working for him for 3 years, and after that pursuing 2 masters, one from India, one from abroad. How did this change come into being? How did Mr. Correa, as you said, he was after your life to get master's. So what was the importance Mr. Correa placed on education and how it impacted your life?
See, if you see the career of Mr. Correa, he himself was a very well read, very well studied person. He did his master's from MIT, I think. So, the education was important for him. Then he used to, as I told, he used to read also all the time. But I don't know how much advices he gave to others, or I only was lucky, because this is personal. What he gave to others, I don't know. But after about 2 years of my working, by that time we had shifted to Bangalore and we had an office here. Every time he will come. Whenever he's there, he used to have only one agenda. When he's here in a day, 2 times he will tell me, Ajay, you should study. Ajay, you should study further. It will not take you anywhere in life otherwise. First 2-3 months I didn't bother. But then he didn't leave. Then I started thinking, see, he is such an accomplished person. By the time I had already started thinking of him, it was like now 2 years. And what I had done, some confidence had come, for which he was the reason. So I'm thinking, he is telling to study, and I don't want to. My mind is not going. I think I should take it seriously. Then my mind came to that. Yes, I should do masters. Shall I further elaborate on? So, but now when you want to do masters, it's not just masters is not drawings. It is reading. So then we started taking out, once it was framed in the mind that I should do masters. We had library. So we started taking, but we cannot read. Because all through 5 years, all we had done was drawings and drawings.
You were not in a habit to pick
reading habit is not there, reading comprehension is not there. Means if you read something, you should assimilate, you should comprehend it. So that reading comprehension was not there. Then this now big headache came. Okay, we'll do masters. We'll write letter. We'll get scholarship. But we'll waste that opportunity. What's the use? Then one more, my friend and colleague from IIT Kharagpur, Ashish Acharji, was there. He cracked this code. Okay, no, we'll do 2 masters. 1 masters we'll do here in India. And we will get with Mr. Correa's recommendation, we'll get anywhere. First do 1 masters. There, let's develop reading habits. Once reading habits are developed, then we'll do one more master. So that's the story of my doing two masters. So the first masters was to develop reading habits, which was at School of Planning and Architecture in Delhi, and second masters was at a School of University of Cincinnati in US.
Yeah.
Again, he was not there at this time with me.
Yeah.
But is that words which used to ring in my head, you know?
Yeah.
You village idiot, goat moron. Who gave you the gold medal? Still the ring in my head. They are the ones used to motivate me to read,
to drive,
to accomplish, and to drive, and it still drives me.
Yeah. Alright. So we are on the last question for the day, and my last question for the day is any advice that he gave to his students to further their career in architecture.
See, he was not a person who would like give sermons. I mean, I was lucky he got behind my life, you know, to read. But he was not the one who would give you advice, as far as I know. But every moment you spend with him, he would make you to dive deep. He hated shallow work. And the depth can come from any source.
Yeah.
But the content and the layers have to be there in work. It's like if you have one thing, as much as depth and in as much you can think about it, that thought has to be given. If you've done stupid work, no, you used to throw on our face and you used to say don't do all this, because that time these rotary pens used to be there.
Yeah.
With that we used to do inking.
Yeah.
And with color pencils, Barrel color pencils, he used to do coloring.
Yeah.
So his dialogue for that was, don't do all this inking and pinking, go do some thinking.
Yeah.
That means you have to get into
the depth.
depth. That depth can be, if you see British Council, there is a mural, JKK, references to town planning, mandala, vastu, so many things, sir.
Yeah.
I mean, there was no limit working with him, you cannot add. And all we used to do was to add depth.
Yeah.
So I think it's not like advice he gave, but what everyone learned by working with him to do deep work.
Yeah.
And I think what we are doing this for his birthday anniversary, 1st of September, to be released on 1st of September. So anyone who watches this, that is my advice, whether you are a practicing architect or whether you are a student or anyway you are remotely connected to architecture. Maybe you are not someone who's into architecture, in whichever field you are, you should do deep work. If as an intellectual you want to learn something from Mr. Correa, was also an intellectual, he was a very eminent person in his field. So if you want something, learn something from this eminent personality, is to do deep work.
Yeah.
How much deep you can dive in your own field, bottomless pit, to that extent you should dive. There is no bottom. That is what I learned working with him, and that is what is my advice for everyone.
Okay. So, sir, this was a very beautiful conversation I had with you about Mr. Correa, learning about him, learning about all his philosophies, about how he helped you become a better architect. And I think we can all use that in our day-to-day lives, and getting much more learning from what we have, taking charge of our education, reading as much as we can, working as much in depth as we can. So I think that is what we can take away from this interview. And thank you so much for being a part of this episode, and thank you so much for contacting me to make this episode.
No, it is my way of what I learned from him. I thought something we can do now with your interest in technology today. It can go to lot many people. Though he's not there, as long as people can see this, so many people get inspired the same way which I got inspired in 3 years.
So thank you so much for this episode, sir. It was a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you. My pleasure too.
Chase the passion that drives you and let it guide your actions. Read, travel, and never stop learning. And whatever you do, always be humble and accepting. These are some of the many lessons I take back from this interview today. Architect Charles Correa was undoubtedly a master of his craft. But after today, after getting to know the man, about how he ran his practice, about how he was with his pupils, and how he helped them push them forward in their careers as well, I am at a loss of words. This episode was so much special because we are releasing it on the 1st of September, which would have been his 88th birthday had he been with us today. But I believe we have the right to mourn the life, but we also get to enjoy his gifts and to make sure his life was worth so much more that he made in his lifetime. So using his experiences, using his learnings, and taking ourselves so much forward because of him. And that would be one of the greatest gifts that we can give to honor his life. I would like to take this opportunity to thank Architect Ajay Verma for inviting me to Bangalore and for actually conceptualizing this episode to honor the brilliant man. That is it for ArchiViews episode 5, guys. I hope you liked it. If you did, please like this video, please share this video, please subscribe to this channel for more episodes. I will see you guys soon with another episode of ArchiViews. Bye bye.